2 seconds.
Okay, yeah. All
Okay.
right, sure.
Hold on.
Ready? Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Rye-Town Park Commission meeting of December 18th, 2018. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Debbie, call the roll, please. I note that Paul Rosenberg is in Atlanta on business, so he will not be joining us this evening.
Commissioner Falanca?
Here.
Commissioner Salanitro?
Here.
Commissioner Cohn?
Yep.
Commissioner Hurd?
Here.
President Zuckerman?
Yes. Our first matter is adopting the minutes of November 20th. If there are no objections or corrections, may I have a motion and a second?
Motion?
Second.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Public comment on non-agenda items.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Happy holidays. Russ Gold, Rye, New York. I just wanted to say that you should all have received our quote-unquote final presentation for the Parking Solutions Group. I know you just got it a few days ago. I just would like to, for the record, to just acknowledge that you all received it and that our next step, what we see at the working group as the next step, is to meet sometime early to mid-January with the working group, as many of the working group as we can get together and as many commissioners as we can get together so we can really drill down into it so everybody understands what we're recommending and hoping that you folks will sign on for 2019. So that's what we see as our next step.
Russ,
Okay.
just to confirm, you
Yes.
sent that out?
Rita did.
Yeah,
Rita
Rita
sent
did
it out.
through, and I think Debbie, did you forward it? Debbie, did you make sure that it kind of everybody?
It was in an earlier agenda.
Yeah,
file,
okay,
and
okay,
I'll
so you-
email it separately.
Okay.
But if you need it again, I'm sure Debbie can. Okay.
I think the best way to set up the dates is either you or possibly Debbie. I think
Yeah.
Debbie's probably the one. Send out a calendar scheduler, so
Right,
that we can
between
all pick the
between
dates.
Debbie and I, we'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah.
put out some possible dates, and
Right.
hopefully with enough time in advance that we can get as many of you folks to get into, so
Right.
we can really drill down into it. Okay.
Okay.
Happy
you,
holidays
Russ.
again. Thank you.
Thanks, Russ. Would anybody else like to speak on a non-agenda item? If not, our first item of business is a proposal from Rye Country Day School to conduct a citizen science project. Please step up and introduce yourselves.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Kathy Bischoff from Rye Country Day. I'm the science department chair, and this is part of AP Biology.
Hi, everyone. Happy holidays. I'm Jen Duran. I'm a scientist and a science teacher, and I run the science research program at Rye Country Day.
Oh, good. We have our...
It's like magic.
Thank you. So what we are proposing is a citizen science project with our students in several different classes with Rye Town Park and Beach.
Can you go? So the purpose really of this study, all science teachers are really just looking for ways that the kids can contribute to their community, but also do hands-on science and really learn cutting-edge techniques. So a couple of the purpose items is really to bring sort of basic ecology to the classroom, but also you guys are 9 minutes away from our school. We also want to gather some really important soil, water, and quality data. We think that that data will be useful for you in terms of park management and making decisions. We also want to, bring kids from different age groups to Rye Country Day on a monthly basis. That's what we're proposing. So a couple of and I won't get into the specific questions, but we have a couple of kids that are interested, for example, of researching Phragmites. Phragmites is an invasive plant, and I'm sure you know a little bit, and I won't get into the specifics. But we are proposing a way to study Phragmites, to run some experiments, and to also find some sustainable ways. So currently, Rydtown Park is treating Phragmites with pesticides. And we have been reading literature and some cutting-edge science that's happening across the nation, and we're hoping to bring those sustainable ways to Rydtown Park. Next slide.
That would be
It's a
fantastic if you could do it.
Just a
We're hoping.
point of note, it's a herbicide, not a pesticide.
Okay. Next slide, please. One more slide, sorry.
This is some of it. So with citizen science, trying to get, and by getting the different groups involved, we want the students to even, once they collect the data, have them help in the generating some different ideas. And our hope, too, is maybe at this time next year, some of our students might present some data to you folks that we found through this project. And so they'll, it's a final goal, really, kind of share their findings, but also they might have some recommendations from the findings, too.
Next slide, please. So the core group, as Kathy mentioned, really are the science research kids. They span from grade 7 to grade 12, AP Bio and AP Environmental Science, and they're mainly 10th graders, 11th graders, and seniors who have pretty extensive background in science. We do science from pre-K to 12, and we are the core teachers here, so myself, Kathy, and one other teacher who's the director of sustainability, and also my co-teacher that teaches environmental science. So these are our areas of expertise. Next slide, please. This was, I visited Rydtown Park a couple of months ago with my friend Bill here, and I just started mapping out areas that would we be potentially gathering soil, water, and air quality data. If you look at the pond, Phragmites is kind of surrounding the pond, so we'd like to do some testing around the pond as well. One of the things that I found was, how much Phragmites exists. There really isn't sort of a baseline so one of the kids is proposing a project in which she could measure the abundance of Phragmites, and measurements like that would give us some insight into how much it's actually growing per year. I know that it gets treated once a year, so we'd like to collect that data. We're proposing on a monthly basis because we think those numbers will be useful. Next slide, please.
So this is just really a list of the different samples we're going to take, which we call like the non-living components. But we also want to look at different types of DNA. We're working on a DNA lab at the school. So and the different types of eDNA that we have in here that we're talking about should also give us an idea of the different organisms that frequent the park itself. So that's kind of in addition to the basic air, soil, and water quality.
Including possibly collecting DNA from Phragmites, from the rhizomes, from the roots of Phragmites, would give us some insight to the microbiome that lives there.
And that also might help us to figure out some different way, like what types of soil it grows better in versus not, and that might help with some other treatments for the Phragmites.
Next slide, please. This is a rough project timeline. We'd like to get started possibly in January and possibly visit twice a month. We see the kids 6 days per cycle, like 6 days, we have a 6-day cycle. We see them 5 times. So possibly get them there at least at the beginning of the month and at the end of the month. And we'd love to do it for, a 12-month period. If you actually go to the next slide, I have a proposed sampling schedule in which we can bring different groups to the park at different times.
Right. So what we're planning to do is we take one class A on January 10th and then class B at the end of January, so that every class probably goes 2 to 3 times during the year. But then we're going to pool the data, and at the end of the year, the students are then going to start analyzing the data once we've collected a decent amount of data. So we'll probably have a pre-data analysis happening in May, And then our research students over the summer will be the ones that will be sampling. So we'll be able to continue it through the summer, not just when school's in session.
Yeah. One thing to add there, Rye Country Day has invested in a really stellar laboratory, so we can do all of the testing in-house. We just need the samples, and we'd bring the samples back to Rye Country Day and test them there, and then make that data available to you.
That'd be great.
All right. That was it. That
was it?
That was it. Yeah, it's a pretty short.
That was an excellent presentation.
Thank
that
you.
was really terrific.
Thank you
so
so much.
Can I have
Thank
a
you.
question?
Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
What's the
Yeah.
group of students? How many students per group, roughly?
Roughly, our classes are typically anywhere from 10 kids to 18 kids max. So it would probably be about 20 kids per group that would be visiting twice a month, no more than that.
Can you describe quickly what methodology of sampling is used in terms of how do you get the water samples, et cetera? Is it a grab sample that you're taking from the surface? You're not sending somebody in the water and saying,
No,
come back with it.
we're going to try to take it right from the surface. There's a couple of techniques that the kids have been, where we basically collect samples in, it looks like, a large bottle. It's about 500 mLs, and we would bring that to run multiple sampling data with it.
So you have access to the edge of the water, because some of the pond areas isolated from public access, if you will.
We're hoping to access it. The day that I was there were a couple of ducks swimming near sort of the surface. We're hoping if we can maybe, there is a gate. There is a gate. So we would need access. And I'm hoping to work with Ryetown Park prior, so having them, have a schedule, letting them know when we arrive. That way somebody can open the gate for us and allow us access to the pond.
And I assume the DNA sampling is to distinguish between animal and human.
The DNA, the DNA could potentially do that.
E. coli.
Yeah. We're more interested in the microbes that live inside of the roots.
Okay.
So we would be doing DNA sequencing on the microbes that we can actually take out of those rhizomes.
And the lab is not certified, right?
The lab?
No.
Yeah.
Not yet?
Not yet. We're getting there.
There's a shortage of labs around here. That's why I was.
Yeah.
I spiked my
certified.
interest.
Yeah, no.
That might be a good
Yeah.
idea, too.
I had heard that there are times when there may be algal blooms in the pond, and also that it may be harmful to come in contact with the herbicide when the herbicide is being used to treat the Phragmites.
Yes.
I gather that you will be taking on the responsibility of making sure that the students are dealing safely with the water in the pond. And
Yes, absolutely.
There will be adequate supervision.
Yes. One of the 3 core teachers will be present at each of those visits to make sure.
And in addition, we always send 2 teachers on any field trip. So one of the core teachers and another teacher will be with the students at any one time while we're there.
But kids will also wear gloves, goggles. They'll be in proper laboratory procedure to make sure that they don't get exposed to anything that they find. And that would also contaminate the samples.
This is a real science project.
Yeah, we're trying to make this
is
a
the real thing.
And-
This
and
is the
it's-
real
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, we want to collect good data.
Yeah.
Clean data is the other.
Yeah. Both of us have prior background in this type of work, so we're hoping to kind of bring our expertise to the table as well.
So, Bill, are you planning to accompany the groups to the park?
Yeah, not necessarily every time, but certainly I'll be doing it, on an occasional basis. I just want to say that I feel so fortunate that we were able to actually find out about the Rye Country Day program, and just came along a year after we did the capstone project, and one of the main results of that capstone project was that they felt that it would be great for the park to be more involved in education, environmental improvements, and this fits exactly into that slot of our long-range future things that can be done. And it also, some of you may have seen this. Could you just hold it for me? This is the Long Island Sound report that came out not too long ago, and if you look through this, we got them from the Save the Sound. The things that they're doing tie right into what's going on here on the state.
I'll even show you my student that I worked with this summer who was working at Save the Sound. Oh, he should be in this one. Oh, this is the 2019 one. He's in.
Oh.
But if you look at the 2019 one from Save the Sound, one of our students, Nishan, was working with them.
There's no consideration of doing any water testing at the outfalls into the Long Island Sound itself, or are you just going to concentrate on the pond area?
Maybe it could expand.
Yeah,
Well,
we're probably going to.
the outflow would definitely be possible. What happens?
Right.
There's so many. Basically, it's just ground runoff that brings the water into the. There is no stream or anything feeding the pond. But then, especially now when we've had a lot of water and the ground is pretty hard, we're getting a lot of overflow. So there really is a stream flowing out into the sound.
Yeah, only so you can distinguish between point source and non-point source pollutants.
I work with Save the Sound also, part of their water, so I work with your student in the summer. So, and the Wright Town Park, or right adjacent to it, is one of the sampling sites for Save the Sound.
Right. I thought there's a number along the whole Sound Shore communities. I get that. Okay.
Actually, Russ has had many years of experience in this field. In fact, one of my first articles when I started writing for the Rye Record was his team. They were studying the stream right at the entrance to the Rye Nature Center. And also, I just want to point out that, as far as I understand it, you're already doing some water quality studying of Vine Brook down near Wapanoka. Is that right?
We do it on Blind Brook Stream,
Cool. Nice.
and we're reporting results there yearly.
So, I think it would be certainly something that as this program progresses, ideally we'd be getting reports and might even encourage other people to get involved with this, because I think that's why they call it citizen science, because there just aren't enough paid people to get all the information that they need to make good judgments. So,
Bill, can you refresh my memory? I think it was January 2018 when we had the report on the Phragmites that was
Yes.
done by a scientist. I forget where he was
well,
from.
there was a woman. We did a call in from the DEC. The weather was bad, so we held that, and we had somebody from the Pond Lake Connection. And that's the other thing, is that I assume that the park is going to go ahead and keep using the Pond Lake Connection to do the treatment of the pond. And that was why we brought them together, and certainly we will have a chance to present what they'll be doing and make sure it fits in with what the Pond Lake Connection is doing.
I'd like to suggest that, from a perspective of letting the community know the wonderful work that you're doing, if you could share with us an intermittent report that we could then distribute out over social media and on our website to follow progress and report back to the commission, that would be very, very helpful.
We'll try to send students next time.
Well, that would be fun.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
There's
after
one-
each visit, if you have a photograph and a caption,
Oh, okay.
Send them to us.
Definitely be documenting the whole process, and also sharing it on the Rye Country Day feeds. I'm sure the school's really excited about this type of project as well.
One other item, both Commissioner Salnicho and Mayor Cohn just separately whispered to me, what about insurance? So I'm sure the school is insured, but I think that your insurance people should contact us, because most likely we would want to be named insured for this purpose on your insurance policy.
Right.
Okay?
We actually had talked about it, and they will get the appropriate forms.
Okay.
And
We've talked to our business office, and they will prepare a certificate of liability insurance that would cover, January 2019 to January 2020,
All
and
right.
we can renew it as we go.
Okay.
just have them get in touch with my office so I can send you our requirements.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess
Thank you.
Thank you.
we can say that this is approved. Yes. Okay.
Okay, good.
All right.
Thank you.
Then we can book the bus. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is an update on capital projects, I should say, of which we have several. The first item that I'd like to report on is we were advised just today that our application through the CFA process with the state of New York has been successful. We have been awarded a grant of $300,000 to improve our accessibility in the park. That includes work on the ramps and to make the bathhouse fully handicap accessible, bathrooms, etc., and to move the permit office there. So that is really good news. And I'd like to publicly thank obviously the entire commission for going forward with this, but especially Debbie and Lisa Easton and Helen Thurston. Helen's our grant writer and Lisa's our architect, for doing all the grunt work to get the application prepared and filed and of sufficient quality that we got this grant. So we're really excited. And I'll also say publicly, since they're sitting here, both Portchester and the city of Rye also received CFA money, and I'm sure that Mayor Cohn and Mayor Falanca will talk to their own boards about that. But very, very successful, and congratulations to all.
Excellent job.
The seawall project continues to move forward. I just spoke to the engineer's office today, and they're working. They say they're just about, there's virtually nothing left, as far as they know, for the final engineering approval from the city. And hopefully, we may possibly have a bid package ready to go out before the end of the year. I'm very excited about that. The dormitory roof is a bit of a disappointing story. The bids were open last week on December 14th, and we got 2 bids, and they were much higher than our estimates were. Lisa Easton, the architect, is reviewing the bids to see what the differential is and why it was, and we'll be speaking to those who submitted bids and several who didn't submit bids to help us determine the next round. Most likely, we're going to probably send it out to bid again. The estimate, we did not expect that the price would be in excess of $400,000 or so, and it was far in excess of that. So we're going to look to rebid or otherwise establish a process so that we can get the roof done. We have, what is our grant there, $250? Mm-hmm. Right, $250,000.
Yep. And it's a 50% matching grant, right?
No, not for the dormitory authority. We we committed to $100,000.
Okay. Is there another grant then? That was the 50% matching grant?
Yes, the CDBG
And did we
grants.
receive it? I thought that was the one we received.
Or is it the FEMA we're talking about?
No.
The
No,
FEMA,
FEMA is for the
FEMA is
seawall.
nice.
FEMA is the
90%.
seawall. That's 90%.
Right.
Yes.
The CFA is 50%, I believe.
Yes.
And we're still waiting on the county because we have a grant pending for some 2 grants pending for some of the same work that we've already received the grant for. And the way the process works is that if we get the county money, that can count as the local share for the state grant, and the state grant can count as the local share for the county grant.
Yep.
So there will be some that we will have to spend, even if we get the money. But we're waiting. That's supposed to be released in January.
Okay, so next steps. Will we sit down and put our heads together with Lisa after she's reviewed
Yeah.
it? Is there a team that's been assembled? I mean, I would. I know a lot of that's administrative, but love to participate, not necessarily in the conversations, but just I want to feel like I'm a little bit better informed about where we are there, which is my own fault.
Are you suggesting a team to determine our priorities?
Yes.
priority for the entire beach?
No, I mean, well, so the goal is to redo the roof of the
Right.
bathhouse.
Right.
Okay. And right now we're getting bids that are
And they see-
unsatisfactory in terms of
Right.
way
So the
over.
bids are for the roof replacement,
Right,
and they came in too high.
right.
We have that money, there's no question about it.
Well, we have the money,
CFA
but we will still be required to put up a certain amount of money.
The rest?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the problem is that if the bids come in, if the low bid is $800,000, for example, and we're getting $250, then we have to make up the difference
Right.
between that.
Exactly. This
So
is what I'm getting at, sort of
yeah.
just in terms of the cost. As we move forward, I think it's worth it for us to evaluate moving forward with this project in this manner if the bids continue to come in at $800,000.
My feeling, Emily, is that the bidders substantially inflated the numbers over what they had to be
Why would they do that?
because they wanted to make more money. I mean, I have already reviewed with Lisa on a preliminary basis what the unit costs were. In other words, what we know the cost would be for the materials, et cetera.
Right. I guess the question I'm trying to ask then is how do we protect against that, or how do we get the bid for the amount that we're looking for?
We rebid,
Right.
and we make sure that we contact a lot of other bidders who may be willing to bid proper amounts. On the Crawford Park renovation that the town is doing, we rebid some of the work 3 times until we got a number that was more acceptable than the original ones.
Great.
So we'll take the appropriate course to get a proper bid from a qualified bidder.
This bid was Wright Town Commission, Park Commission bid, or was it Wright Town?
Park Commission.
Okay, so we need a formal resolution rejecting the bids then, process-wise.
When we get to that
So then we can-
place.
So we need to reject them and
Well,
then.
we
I don't know
didn't
that
have
we-
a formal resolution to issue them, so do we need a formal
I
resolution?
don't, we can discuss
to-
that. That's a legal matter. We'll discuss that. We don't need to discuss that
Just
at
process,
this point.
that's what I was thinking of.
We'll do whatever's appropriate. Okay, but I just wanted to bring everybody up to date on where we were. I'm not disheartened by the dormitory board bid. I'm just a little disappointed. But we'll go forward and we'll do it again. Any other questions on the capital projects?
Sorry, I just want to make sure I understand. When you talk about dormitory, are you talking about the Dormitory Authority, DASNY?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Related to that, we have a resolution to enter into a contract for environmental testing and consulting services for the roof and exterior of the bathhouse. And this is for environmental testing for lead and asbestos, which we would have to do before we did any work anyway. So we really need to do it, and it's not a major contract.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a major contract. Just questioning the timing of it, if it makes sense to move forward with that work right now until we know for sure that we're going to be moving forward with the bathhouse roof replacement.
Well, I think it's necessary to move forward with it because it's something that we should know if we have lead and asbestos in the house at all, so we could figure out, because at some point, if there is substantial amount, it's going to cost more to remediate than not. So we really need to know what the problem is before we go forward.
We do know that we've just received $300,000 in grant to make the bathroom ADA accessible. So there is definitely work going to be happening in the
We've received
building.
$300,000 to do a number of projects, right? So it's not just for the bath. I mean, it could be that we spend all that money on ramps, right? I mean, right?
It could be.
I'm just, the way that costs come out, it's always way more than you expect it to be. So $300,000 for the number of projects that we have, you know, it's an excellent award, and it will move many projects forward, but it's not guaranteed that we'll have enough funds to make all of our bathrooms ADA accessible. I guess my question, and this would maybe be to Benny, but do we need of course, I'd like to know, but do lead and asbestos presence, is that something that you need to know only if you're going to do construction, or?
Well, the baseline will never change, so doing the test now doesn't void it for the future. So it's going to be what it's going to be. If there's any friable material, I think we'd want to know that anyway, just from an environmental standpoint. The type of testing, some of it is destructive testing for the paint samples at least. They'll go on the roof and they'll check the bituminous coatings and they'll pull some samples here and there. But that material will be what it is. I think it's not a bad idea to have some baseline information up front so that if there's any other risk that we don't anticipate finding, we should know about it. Sooner than later, doesn't matter. Again, I don't see it as a bad expenditure moving forward. It's something that we need to know anyway. We spent a lot of money on last year with the rehab, with the asbestos abatement and the paint abatement. It would have been nice if we had it all done. You know, it's nice to know what you're getting into before you get into it, right? I think that's why we're recommending doing it.
Well, yeah.
This is a lesson. This is a lessons learned approach,
And you're
I
talking
agree
about
with
the
it.
tower building, right?
Yeah, you know, so
Yeah.
it's good to know.
No, I mean, it's a minor contract, as the commissioner said, so
Yeah.
I'm,
No, it's $1,000.
It's a good
A
move.
little over, but not much.
A little over $1,000.
I-
All right.
I'm
May I
comfortable with it.
may I have a motion and a second, please?
So move.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Falenka,
Yes.
Commissioner Salanitro,
Yes.
Commissioner Cohn,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurd,
yes.
President Zuckerman.
Yes, thank you. Now we have a report from the Barley Beach House. Gentlemen?
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Chris Strays with the Barley Beach House. Bobby. First off, sorry that we didn't make last month's meeting. We had a series of...
What does that mean?
He wants to press the. He's got a presentation.
I'm working on it.
Oh, you're talking to Debbie. Not to,
Gotta push it down. There you go. Somebody put the air conditioner on?
apparently.
Maybe that's what this button does.
Doesn't do that.
Here we go.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right, so again, sorry for last month. We had a couple of series of unfortunate events. We were unable to make it, kind of last second things going on that we had to take care of.
Excuse
so,
me, Chris, hold on. Is there a way we can turn the AC off?
Yeah, your timing is impeccable with the air conditioning.
Since now we can't hear the presentation, and we're going to freeze out pretty soon.
So I press. Does this button here do? What does that button do?
There's something on the wall over there
police
that may be
department.
helpful.
Shut the air conditioner off.
Right on that
We
wall.
have the mayor here. He could figure it out.
I don't touch that stuff.
No, that's locked.
It's locked. Okay.
All right.
Talk
All right.
loudly.
Speak
up.
loudly.
We'll speak up.
Speak loudly.
So we're just going to give you guys an update of what's going on our end. I'm sure everybody's looking to see what's going on. We haven't broken ground yet for the new construction. As you can see on the TV up there, the plans that we're looking to do this season is to actually move the bar from where it is currently, which is on that room all the way to the right, and bring it into the main room with all the doors. So what that entailed, we're looking at redoing the floors, moving the bar, redoing the outside doors to the patio, and obviously the plumbing and electrical needed to make all that right. Does that sound right? As far as where we are right now in that phase, we've met with 3 different companies to do the work, the contracting work, and we're still working on the bidding process. We're taking a little bit extra time this season to make sure that we get the bang for the buck that we're looking for. Last season, with everything being a rush and just kind of rolling into the season, we don't feel that we didn't get what we were looking for in the end result. Well, most of our money spent last season went into plumbing, electrical, bringing things up to health code. Didn't really go to much of what we wanted, like moving the bar and putting new doors in and making the place look beautiful and nice. So this season we're trying to focus on moving the bar, doing some updates at the North Gate. I know you guys are wondering what's there. We're looking to clean out the North Gate. We're going to bring that up to health code. As far as the plumbing and electrical goes, we're trying to see where that stands as far as if it's usable, workable, where that's going to fit into our budget, and that's going to kind of give us an idea of what we're looking to do with the space. We're hoping everything works over there, and it's just a quick cleanup process, and we can put some equipment in there and cook. We're throwing around a couple ideas for that now, but if not, we're looking to just keep it very simple at the North Gate again this season. Do ice cream, sodas, waters, maybe a couple vending machine options where people could just grab some stuff really quick and go from there. Questions?
Well, how would you rate your first season? I know that it was a rough start, but
It was sad. I don't want to say that we made a bad deal, but we didn't have a great season. I mean, we essentially paid $58,000 in rent to be open for about 65 days. So being behind the gun with the seasonal staff, we went through a whole lot of staff, which obviously cost us a lot of money to train people, go through people. We went through 3 chefs, 3 managers, and it was very, very fast paced. When we were busy, we were getting creamed, and when it was slow, it was very slow. Essentially no business. So it was a tough season, and we're still trying to recoup from it, which is why we haven't broken ground yet. We're really trying to focus on making things right for the season, which is, one, making sure we could get everything done that we're looking to do. The bids that we are looking at now are about $450 to get $450,000 to get all the work done. So we're trying to make sure that we actually stay within or below that budget, hopefully below that budget, and minimize the amount of change orders and things that are going to be asked for us down the road. We got caught up a couple times last season with the renovation with the fire department. We had to add in the fire system. The health department asked us to do a bunch of stuff to bring the building up to code. So we want to make sure that everything to be operational is taken care of first, and then everything else that we want to do, like move the bar and everything, we want to make sure that we have the right doors picked out before we rip the doors out and then just have to put doors in, so it's a long process, and the bidding has been going back and forth. So I think we're down to 2 people right now on who we're going to go with, and we're hoping by just probably right after the holiday, probably right after Christmas, we're going to hopefully break ground.
so have you fully executed your business model yet, or I was more in line of that. I get the construction issues, but your business model in terms of your forecast, has it been fully executed, or that's another thing that you're trying to execute?
Operationally, I think that we're looking to just work on operations here. We know the problems that we had last year with some timing on getting the food out, and a lot of it was just not having the proper training in the kitchen and the front of house staff, and it was just one of those series of unfortunate events that we had. So we're looking to maybe change out some equipment, change the menu up. We're definitely going to change the menu up for a couple more items that we could get out faster, and just really just focus on things operationally. So yeah, we know where we're going with it, but everything's not nailed down as far as decor and the look of the place. We're still, can't tell you exactly what tile we're using or what doors are going in, but we know along the lines of where it's going to be.
Thank you.
Don't take the pretzel off the menu.
We won't.
It was everything it was promised to be. My only request is that you make the cheese serving size a little bit larger.
That is doable.
In terms of, generally, like the aesthetic of the upgrades that you made last year, I think were, really nice. People, I've heard great comments about, so whatever tiles and doors you do decide, I'm sure we'll continue to upgrade the feel of the.
Yeah, we think it's going to be an ongoing process. We think for this season, and hopefully by next season we'll have it all done and everything in order. Staff that we could call back on a regular basis, people who get used to working with us. We're currently holding Amy. She was our general manager last season. We're holding her now so we could roll her into the season early. Hiring, training. She's working on the menu and events. Pretty much every day she works a little bit on all that stuff. So every year that we go into it, it's going to get better and better, and we're going to grow with some changes. One thing that we did want to propose, which we know is going to be an ongoing conversation, is proposing to serve drinks on the beach. I think we brought it up not last meeting, we weren't here, but the meeting before that, about doing some beach events to relieve the stress of the restaurant on Friday nights with the fireworks, where we could actually bring people down to the beach and do like clam bakes and boils and like a pig roast, and be able to serve food and drinks over there, and drinks on just a regular basis out there. We know the wall down there has fallen apart, so we didn't know if you guys were going to take care of that, and if it was going to come on us, that we would like to propose to maybe make that area part of the bar area.
As you say, to be discussed.
Yes.
Okay.
And Northgate, I mean, I think you are obviously going to do some exploratory work there, but I would love to get an update on that before the season, because I think it is a priority for us that be opened and, operational, because without that being open and the Northgate, people will use that gate more if it's open and there's snack options. But until that happens, I think that people are going to continue to be clustered at the center of the park.
Yeah, we were talking about a couple things to do with the Northgate, from the simplest worst case scenario, we're having issues with plumbing and the electrical, and it's going to cause a whole bunch of problems, that doing maybe like some kind of vending machine area where people could actually get ice cream and drinks and snacks just right from there, and they don't have to walk across the beach to us, or if everything works out, to donut shops or pizza places and stuff like that. So it's really we're just gonna kind of see how far we could get with the renovation of the actual building, and see where we're falling in, and then basically just it might roll into, some of the work might roll into the season, if it budget wise for us.
And you were able to get the snack bar open last
Correct.
summer.
Yep.
So I would recommend, and just in my own view, that you have some ideas, some thoughts about maybe doing something expanded, within the beach area. Well, they might sound like great ideas. Maybe you can develop a plan sooner than later, so we can start the dialogue, so we don't have a rushed, decision, and we all have a chance to, I'll use the word digest, no pun intended, your thoughts.
Yeah.
It'd be just fair for all of us. And then within the confines of the agreement, obviously, if there's anything beyond that, we'd have an opportunity to speak about it, intelligently in enough time.
Yeah, I think that we just wanted to bring it up as a topic of conversation, because right now we're not even 100% ready for it. We want to focus on getting the restaurant to where it needs to be at. But if we could continuously talk about it and, not have to pay the legal fees and the architect fees up front, and we could somehow get some kind of approval from you guys, then we could move forth to get the drawings from the architect, or put the plans together and talk to the lawyers and take care of all that stuff later.
You're going to have to put something for us to really look at comprehensively. I think, in fairness to the commission, speaking as one, that before decisions are made, we want to get a good visual on what you're proposing. It could be sketch, doesn't have to be, fully, integrated plans, but something that's more in line with what you're proposing to do.
Yep. That's not a problem.
Excuse me, we just got notification somebody's silver Audi is getting towed out front.
So, I mean, that would just, it'll work better that way.
Yeah, we could draw something up and get an idea and take measurements. And
The thoughts are great.
When do you plan on your grand reopening? Do you have a date that you have in mind?
yeah, we're looking to do Easter brunch right now. I don't think we should have a issue making that.
When's Easter this year?
April 6th, 17th?
Second week in April,
Yeah.
I believe.
Right. Just an idea. Okay. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
Management report?
We are in winter mode at this point. Pretty much the facility is closed down. Bathrooms are closed down. They've been drained of water. From a personnel perspective, we've just had some end of the season paperwork cleanup, filing cleanup, dotting I's, crossing T's, making sure that we understood what came out of the point of sale, the new point of sale system. We've been working with Computronics on tying up the past season and talking with them about what we're going to put in place for next season. I've made a high priority of putting our permit process online so that people can reapply for their permits without having to use paper, that they can get to our website online. So we're working on that. That's in process. Personnel, the advertising for a new park director has begun, and as well as working on a new security captain, finding one of those. Let's see what else. Honestly, I think the rest is pretty much here in the written proposal, with the exception that we had a very successful community event on Saturday with a tree lighting, and I believe the community member who rallied that event together is here. You may want to say a few words.
Thank you. It's Julian Radford. Just want to say, first of all, thank you to the Commission for giving the approval to do the Christmas tree lighting in the park. It was a little bit of a mad scramble on a pretty short timeline, but we managed to pull it all off. Feedback was great in the lead up, as many people were seeing the tree lighting and getting excited for the event. We had all walks of life, all backgrounds, all ages show up on the Saturday night. Feedback since the event has been fantastic. People saying, putting up on social media, talking about new traditions and looking forward to the next year. We've had a lot of people on the night and since then who have wanted to contribute next time that we do this, and hopefully we'll certainly learned a lot of lessons on how we can make the event a more meaningful, impactful. But I think it was great. It was a very inclusive event, like I said, with many people coming from all over. So it was a lot of fun. We had people who donated a lot of time and energy outside of their work to make the night a success. We had contributions from Nick's Electrical and from Memoreck Diner, supplying some hot cocoa and cookies, which was nice. Santa came, which was a great treat for the kids, and the Rhythm on Rye, the a cappella group from the high school, which really made certainly took the pressure off me from having to lead everybody in singing Christmas carols. But so I think it was a great success. If there's any other comments, I'd love to hear them. But it was something that I thoroughly enjoyed being a part of. The team that brought this together was certainly by no means it was by all means a team effort in bringing this to fruition.
Thank you. Any comments from the commissioners?
I was there with my family, and it was really an awesome night. The tree is beautiful, and I was trying to talk Katie, Julian's wife, down from the ornaments because I thought we were looking to cut costs, as this unfolded, and those really just made it such a beautiful scene. And so anyway, it was a really awesome night. I mean, I think 300 people, would you say?
Think about that. That's what people seem to estimate. It was about 300 or so people. I think if the weather had been a little bit more cooperative, it could have been a little bit better. But I think for the first year, I think it was a really great turnout.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Comments from the commissioners? No. Any?
Motion to adjourn.
Nothing? I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Happy holidays to all.
That's all right. I forgot to say that. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody. And if you celebrate any other holiday in this time of year, happy holidays to you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Next meeting.